Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Conix, and welcome to YACC, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is Flower. It was made by the same company that made Obsidian Journey, that gaming company, and with the help of Santa Monica Studio in 2009. And also there will be spoilers up ahead. But first a bit of backstory. I picked this game up on a multiple times actually. So I picked it up for the PS3 back in the day as a physical copy, and then later as a bundle deal for the PS4, also physical. And then I forgot I had the physical copy, so I bought it again on PSN just for this occasion. But yeah, the game starts out in a room, and on a windowsill there is a flower pot with a yellow flower in it. And you use your controller not in the traditional way with like the crosshair or joystick. You actually tilt the controller in which way you want to move, basically. And you tilt the controller to hover over the yellow flower, and you select it with X, or I guess any button. And then you're treated to a cutscene in a city, in a black cityscape and lots of rushing traffic, and then it cuts to a field with a yellow flower, a single yellow flower, and you press X or any button and it pops out. So you actually use the controller, you actually guide this flower petal through the landscape by tilting the controller in the direction you want the wind to carry this petal, and every other button on the controller more or less accelerate, except for like the options, the start button. So you make your way across the field and you interact with other flowers, which makes your own trail of flower petals grow longer. And you activate or you interact with these flowers, and you kind of bring more color to the field. So this game is actually about environmental message, I guess. And at the end of this meadow, you go into this swirling vortex, and it takes you back to the room which you were in the beginning. You can select another flower of color flower. And the next colored flower in a pot is a red flower, and you get treated to a gray street, and then cut into a gray field, and basically interact with flowers and circles of stone circles, basically. And once you reach the end of this cycle, you're taken back to the room again, and this time you can interact with a lilac flower, which is sort of a purple kind of flower color. This time you get treated to a much brighter cityscape with lots of greens in this city, and it's spread to the city basically. And then cutting to a gray sky, and this one little petal, and you go to interact with these windmills or wind turbines, I guess they're called. So by activating the flowers in the field, you actually make these turbines kind of spin, and they will take you into this ravine area where you can go really fast. And then there is a secret area. I think it's a trigger for a trophy. You can see some cave paintings, and then at the end of the ravine, you go into an open field with lots of wind turbines, and you interact with the flowers on the ground, and the wind turbines keep spinning, and the wind carries on into the sunset. And next flower on the windowsill is a blue flower, and then the cutscene cuts to a dark city with lots of street lamps, and one of the street lamps goes out. So you start in a dark field with some wind turbines. So this is the continuation of that stage, I guess. But the sun has gone down now, it's dark. So you interact with haystacks and other things, and there's a little area with rocks and water. It's kind of nice. And you interact with all these flowers in the area, and you bring back light to the otherwise not lit area. And then you go on to a dark path with steel construction and red blinking lights, and this signalize danger, obviously, this ominous kind of structure, and you move into this kind of constructive, kind of dark scape area. And then of course you go to the next chapter, next stage, the white flower, and then there's a cutscene with a puddle of water, and it starts raining, and then you cut to a gray field with ominous metallic structures with red blinking lights. And if you touch these red blinking lights on these constructions or the construction itself, you get electrocuted and you lose some of your flower beds. You kind of emit a bit of smoke. And then you travel down to this path, basically to the end of it. And then cutting to the last flower, the little white flower, which is this kind of feeble, kind of weak plant. And you're at the outside of the big city, and you go through lots of flower beds, and you turn the grass green. But at this point, you can actually destroy the white construction, or the ominous construction. So you go into the city, and you make all the area green. You go down highways, you go on top of rooftops, and eventually you reach the center of this bad, ominous construction, which you race, I should say, into the center of it, and you break it apart from the inside. And this superstructure kind of turns into a white big tree with pink flower leaves. So yeah, that was that. And I also forget, at the end of the game, when you manage to clear all the stages, you get like this end credit kind of screen. So at the far right of the windowsill, you get a little picture frame with a painted flower on it. You can access that, and you kind of go through a landscape with ravines and lots of flowers, and each flower that you interact with has a developer name to it, like art and communication and design and, I don't know, programming. So that's the game for you. So gameplay. The gameplay consists of you guiding some leaf petals through the levels, interact with the flowers, and making things happen like a positive way, I guess. And then a controller. You move the controller in the way you want the petals to move, basically, and every other button accelerate the movement of the wind, except for the start button or options button, as I said before. And then the graphics, blooming, very bright colors, and it makes you kind of happy because you're doing something that makes the world that you're in, you interact with it, it makes it more vibrant, more happier, I guess. And then the sound of music. Every time you pick up a new flower or interact with it, there is a string being plucked on a guitar or some kind of instrument, and it overall adds to the music and everything. It's like the sound effect, and you can hear, like, when you go through a certain altitude with your flower petal, like the tail, if I guess that's what you call it, you get this whooshing effect of the wind, and you pluck up flowers, and it plucks the strings of the guitar or whatever instrument is playing, and it interacts generally with the tone of the music as well. And in conclusion, you should at least play this game, because it's one of those games, it's like many of the other games that game company does. It's more about the visual style of telling a story. It's like a chill game. You can play through it in like 1 hour, but if you really take time to collect everything and go for the trophies, you have a couple of days of play, I guess. So if you can pick this up, it's relatively cheap, but I would recommend you pick up the bundles, because then you get like Journey or Flow and Flower, I guess. Bundle deals are actually a better way to pick up this game, because individually I think they're more costly. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening, and take care.